You won't believe the country stars Willie Nelson couldn't stand, and how a chicken nearly ended a lifelong friendship. For most of us, Willie Nelson feels like that cool, peace-loving uncle who always plays guitar, smells like weed, and somehow knows everyone. He spent decades writing iconic songs, building bridges between genres, and dodging drama with his signature grin. But even someone as mellow as Willie has had his fair share of feuds, misunderstandings, and behind-the-scenes tension with some of the biggest names in music, country legends, rock stars, and yes, even a modern pop prince. Some of these rifts were philosophical, others personal. A few were sparked by ego. And one started with a rooster. Buckle in, because this isn't your average country music documentary. Let's start with a name that might surprise you. Hank Williams Jr. Now, these two never came to blows, but the tension between them was real. Hank Jr. came from a world of strict Southern values and country tradition. He was the heir to a legacy and he protected it fiercely. Willie, on the other hand, was part of the outlaw country movement, a rebel with long hair, a love for marijuana, and zero interest in doing things the Nashville way. Hank took potshots at Willie's look, his lifestyle, and everything he thought was dragging country music away from its roots. He didn't hold back in interviews or on stage, mocking Willie's hair and hippie vibe. Willie's response? Classic Willie, he stayed chill, stayed silent, and took the high road. He never clapped back, just said there's room in the genre for different styles and values. Now, if you think the tension ends there, think again. Enter Glenn Campbell, the rhinestone cowboy himself. Glenn was a smooth-talking, TV-hosting, mainstream superstar who had already made his mark by the time outlaw country started taking off. He sang clean, polished songs with a pop country vibe that appealed to middle America. But when Willie's scruffy, unfiltered brand of country music started dominating the airwaves in the 70s, Glenn wasn't thrilled. He never launched a full-blown attack, but over the years he made comments about how image was overtaking actual talent. That felt like a not-so-subtle dig at Willie's raw, unpolished sound and laid-back look. Did Willie respond? No, not a word. He just kept playing his battered guitar, writing his songs, and letting his music speak louder than any jab. Speaking of tension, the next clash was more personal and public. Remember To All the Girls I've Loved Before? Willie's 1984 duet with Julio Iglesias was a huge crossover success. The two looked like best friends on stage. But not long after, things got awkward. According to Willie, Julio snubbed him at a big press event, ignored him in front of everyone. No handshake, no thanks, no eye contact. Now, that might not sound like much, but to someone like Willie who values humility and respect, it was enough to end a working relationship. He didn't raise a fuss, but they never collaborated again. Behind that smile, Willie was clearly hurt, and if you listen closely to later interviews, you'll hear him hint at that moment like it never fully left his mind. But let's switch gears for a second and talk about Neil Young. Yep, even the rock and roll poet had something to say. At one point, Neil reportedly criticized Willie's guitar playing, called it too simple, maybe even a little sloppy. Now, if you know anything about Willie's guitar, Trigger, you know that's borderline blasphemy. Willie's playing style is unique. It's not flashy, but it blends jazz, blues, and country in a way nobody else can replicate. His timing's offbeat. His phrasing is odd. But it works. And for fans, it's part of his soul. Neil's comment stung, but what did Willie do? You guessed it, he shrugged, smiled, and said something along the lines of, "If it feels good, it's good enough for me." Now here's where things get juicy. Waylon Jennings? These two were more than just friends. They were partners in crime, literal outlaws of country music. But even tight-knit duos fight, and Willie and Waylon had their fair share of drama. Willie was spontaneous and relaxed. Waylon? Intense and disciplined. They clashed over creative decisions, tour schedules, and even how to live the outlaw life. They'd argue, sometimes loudly, but they never let it ruin the friendship. Willie once joked that their relationship was like an old married couple. Lots of bickering but unconditional love underneath it all. Together, they made history with tracks like Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys, and despite the tension, their bond stayed unbroken till Waylon passed in 2002. But no feud is weirder, or more hilarious, than the one involving Ray Price and a rooster.